Don't worry if you find these questions challenging. They're meant to be challenging because they're aimed at the grade 8 and 9 students. If you do find them challenging, I will put a link up later in this video to another video where I'll give you lots more examples of this type of question. So this particular question says what mass of copper could be made from the reduction of 60 grams of copper oxide. Remember, reduction just means losing oxygen. So first of all, we write the information we've got in the question next to the equation. So we've got 60 grams of copper oxide. We're also being asked to work out the mass of copper. So I'm going to put a question mark next to the mass of copper. We then look at the balancing numbers in front of these two formulas, and we see that 2 moles of CuO makes 2 moles of Cu. We then need to work out how many moles of copper oxide have we got in those 60 grams. So we use the equation we're very familiar with, moles equals mass over mR. So the mass is 60 grams, and then we need to work out the mR of copper oxide, and we do that by adding up the mass numbers from the periodic table. So the mass number of copper is 63.5, oxygen is 16, so the whole thing combined is 79.5. Notice that at this stage we're not going to times it by 2 because the mR is only for one molecule of that substance. So we put the 79.5 into the equation to work out the moles, and we get that the moles of copper oxide is 0.75 moles. You could leave it as the long number at this stage that you get in your calculator, and then we annotate the equation once again to show how many moles of copper oxide we've got. Now we said earlier if we had 2 moles of copper oxide it would make 2 moles of copper. It's the same ratio. That means if we had 5 moles of copper oxide it would make 5 moles of copper. But in this case we've worked out we've got 0.75 moles of copper oxide. That means we're going to make 0.75 moles of copper. But the question is asking us for the mass of copper. So we rearrange the equation to get mass of copper is moles times AR. If you're wondering why it's not moles times MR, it's because we've got copper on its own. It's not a molecule. So that's the atomic mass of copper. But it wouldn't matter if you'd written MR there. You would still end up putting the right numbers in. So the moles is 0.75. And the mass number for copper on its own is 63.5. And when we work that out, we get the mass of copper made is 47.625 grams. So if you feel like you need more practice at questions like this, I'll put the link up there now. Thank you for watching.